You really can't hide behind legal fictions this time, Mr. Barr. It's all out in the open, where the people can see what you are doing for themselves. The president wants footage for his campaign ads, and you appear to be serving it up to him as ordered. In most of these cities, the protests had begun to wind down before you marched in and confronted the protesters. And the protesters aren't mobs. They are mothers and veterans and mayors. In this moment, real leadership would entail de-escalation.
So I've been watching Jerry Nadler grilling Attorney General Barr. And it makes me think of a question that applies to Republicans these days. Why is it the case that even when we seem to be in control, we're not in charge? Even when we have 2 out of the 3 branches of government, somehow the left always sets the agenda. And the reason they're able to do it is because of their use of narrative. So here we see Nadler pushing a narrative. And the narrative is that Barr has no genuine interest in law enforcement. He's merely a kind of shill for the Trump re-election campaign. And Barr responds kind of clinically, methodically, laying out facts. It's effective in a way, but it doesn't fight fire with fire. It doesn't combat the other side's narrative. And this is actually the Republican approach. We somehow think that facts can dethrone a narrative. I think back to the 1980s when Senator Kennedy would say of Judge Bork, he wants to have back alley abortions, he wants to force women to have control over their sex lives. And then Judge Bork would go, well, my understanding of Roe versus Wade, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't effectively meet the attack. And I would love to have Barr counter with Nadler and say, look, you're the head of the Judiciary Committee. Isn't it your job to oversee the prosecution of law and order in this country? We have our cities burning with the complicity of Democratic mayors and sometimes Democratic governors. They're letting this happen. Their staffers are in league with the rioters and the arsonists. And here you are apologizing for this mayhem and pretending as if the problem isn't the thugs on the street, but the law enforcement that is trying to get the thugs off the street. Ultimately, Nadler is himself complicit with what's going on. And yet he's pretending to be the sort of neutral arbiter, the kind of solemn enforcer of the law, and tries to make Barr into some sort of a renegade. I think it's important to combat their bogus narratives with honest narratives that include facts, but don't hesitate to fight fire with fire.